What's up guys? In today's video we will demonstrate an easy way to create your own animations. After that we will play a bit with them in our own Unity application. I'm no animator, but I've been able to create some good looking animations myself now. And if I can do it, so can you. So bear with me. First we need to obtain Cascadeur, so go to this website and download the version of your operating system. The installation is pretty simple. Cascadeur already comes with some samples of human characters, but we will use the Mixamo character instead. That's what I also use a lot for games, so we will work with those to make sure that we can use those animations in our game. Let's go with Adam. I'm gonna download him as a T-pose. We're just downloading the model without any animations over here, because we will create the animations ourselves. So we will just use this empty scene and we will import our FBX into that. The model for Mixamo. It will ask us to rig the model. We want that, so press yes. And then it will open a rigging tool. That's very handy. It has already rigged the complete model for us, so there's no need to change anything to this default configuration. Just press OK and we will end up with a rigged model. You will see that this model has all the joints of a human character, except for the fingers. So the fingers are missing over here. If you want to have those, you need to buy the Pro version, and then you can easily also move the position of the fingers with the auto pose tool. This is the auto pose mode. You can see that over here. With this auto pose mode you can simply click any of the joints and then move it, and all of the character will move along with the moving of the joint, and that way you can very easily create a different pose and then create an animation out of that. So you only need to change one joint and everything will follow, the whole body will follow. That's the great thing about this Cascadeur. So you can't do that for the fingers, but you can, however, change the position of the fingers. If you choose not the auto pose but another viewing mode, like this rig viewing mode, then you can select the joints of the finger, and you can move them like this, but best you can not use the translation but the rotation instead. So now you can rotate this joint and also this one, and that way you can create a fist, for example. Now let's revert to the original pose and start to create our first animation. Go back to this auto rigging, this auto pose mode, and I'll just zoom out a bit. You can zoom in or out by keeping the Alt key on your keyboard pressed down and then clicking the right mouse button and then moving the mouse. If you keep the Alt key pressed down and you keep the left mouse button pressed and you move the mouse, you can then rotate the object, and with the middle mouse button and keeping the Alt key pressed down, you can move the camera. So that way you can move to any view position by using the 3 buttons of the mouse together with the Alt key pressed down. So that's very easy. Now, in order to create our first animation, we need to create keyframes. Let's click over here, let's say 20 frames after the first keyframe, and now we will press this button or the F key to create a second keyframe. Now in this keyframe we can change the pose. The first animation I want to create is a somersault. So if you are in this position and you want to perform a somersault, you should first get down, bend your knees, so that you can then jump in the air. So let's do that now. I'm selecting a joint that I think is suitable for that. Then I go to the translate option and drag the image down. I've selected not the best one, I think. Let's rotate the model a bit and then select the proper one. Yeah, I selected an arm. Instead I should select something on the body itself. So this is better. But I've changed something in the arm already. So let's just first press undo. And now you can see that we can bend down like that. If you bend down too much, he will really kneel down, but we want to have something like this. You will note that if you try to change this position of this joint, it sometimes snaps back to the original position and it just won't work. That's because we're not on a keyframe. I'm now in this position. There's no keyframe over here. So you need to be on a keyframe. So let's create a keyframe again over here. And now you can move the joint and this position will stay because it's stored in this keyframe. So we now have an animation of 100 frames. Let's first decrease that a little bit and now we can play it. It will play looped by default, so we can just see what animation we just created. Well, you might be not so impressed by this, because this is just an up and down. But now comes the great part. We can just click anywhere between these two keyframes, and then we can change this interpolation mode. It's currently on step, but that's something you usually don't want. You want to use either linear or one of the Bezier curves. I use this Bezier curve, it makes it look really fluent. And now the animation will interpolate from this first pose to the second pose. And we will really see something like a bending over here. So that's great, it's working. And then you can create just the second keyframe. Now we should go and stand up again and then jump into the sky. So let's create a keyframe and then move this character up. Oh, I pressed the space bar, then you have a double screen where you can see the object from different angles. But for me that's not really necessary, so I press the space bar again to make it disappear. So yeah, in this case, let's make the character jump up. In the beginning it will be a bit difficult to find the proper joints to change and the proper position for the joints, but you will get used to that soon enough. So just keep practicing and you will finally intuitively already find a good way of creating an animation. So as soon as I jump up, also my my hands will go up, something like this. So also let's create an interpolation on this part and let's see what we now have. You see that we now have this bending down and already jumping. So the next thing is to just make the character do some turns, and then finally land over here somewhere, and then yeah, just be back to the default position. Note that I'm only using the rotation and the translation. Sometimes you can't rotate a joint because it already uses translation, but those two tools are enough to create a proper animation, in my opinion. There are a lot of options in Cascadeur, but you really don't need them all to create already some fine basic animations. Another thing to notice is that if I press this joint a few times, like a double click, then it will select all the joints that are near it, like all the child nodes, let's say, and in this case it will select all the nodes. Then I can rotate the whole object or translate the whole object to move it to another position. So this is useful for our somersault animation, because the pose is mainly the same while we're in somersault, but we need to have a few of those positions where we only rotate and translate the character so that he really turns around. You can also copy keyframes by selecting them and then pressing the middle mouse button. That will actually move it, but if you keep the shift key down while pressing the middle mouse button on a keyframe, then you can copy it like this. I will now copy the first keyframe to the last position so that we have a complete animation where the character turns back into the original pose. Only this position must be translated, because we just moved while we were doing the somersault. Something like this. So you can see that I'm no expert by no means of these animations, but even I can create an animation quite quickly by using this tool. Okay, this is our first animation. I will just polish it a little bit later on, but I think we can use it like this already. I'm going to use the middle mouse button to move the keyframes a little bit. In order to make the animation a bit faster. It's still not very fast, but we can speed it up also inside Unity. We can control the speed of our animation. So we'll just leave it like this. We will save it. We will export it as a FBX. We will export the whole scene. So it will also include the model itself. So we can use that to create an avatar out of it. But for any other following animations, you could just save it without meshes probably. So we're going to save it and we're going to call it summersault. Now let's repeat this process for another animation. We just create a new scene and import the model again. This time we're gonna create some fight movements. I'm just gonna keep the character at this position, but I will move his arms and legs so we can create something like a kick. You see that as soon as I move the one foot, the other feet starts to move as well and to rotate. If you don't want that, and in this case I think I don't want that, then you can just click on those joints and you can disable them with the R key on the keyboard. So now if I select the first leg, you see that the joint that I just fixed will not move anymore, but will stay at its position. If we also fix the other joints, we can double click over here, then press R. Now everything is fixed on the second foot, so if you now move this one, you will see that this foot stays fixed. We can create a kick, maybe something like this, but then we should first create a keyframe. Actually, I think I will remove this fixed leg. I mean, I will just unfix the those joints, so we can rotate that foot as well. Okay, this animation needs to be polished a bit later on as well. But for now, let's just save it. And call it fight. Now let's create a simple example where we will use the animations. I'm creating a new 3D project. I will call it Move It. The first thing we will do is add the free asset, the starter assets third person from the asset store to our project. I've already downloaded it, so I just need to import it and update the package. But you may need to download it first, it will take a little bit longer. I've created a folder in this new project called Animations, and I've put the XPX files for the once you've added the starter assets to this project, we can open the example scene that's in here. It contains a robot that can walk around and jump, and we will add our animations to that. I've already put our animations in this folder called Animations. We got our fight animations, our somersault animation, and this model that we've downloaded from Mixamo. So the first thing we're going to do is replace this robot with our model from Mixamo. Actually everything is in here, so we can just remove the geometry and the skeleton. So we got our hips also inside this and all our other rigs. So you can see that the robot has now been replaced by the character from Mixamo. Only he is still not animated. So we have an animator controller over here, but it still uses the armature avatar, and we need to use the avatar that fits with this Mixamo character. It has bones named different than the this other avatar. For example, we have over here Mixamo Auric 7, and that's not in the original avatar that's over here. You can see that the names are quite different over here. So what we need to do is go to our animations, to our Mixamo character, and we need to rig it, a humanoid, and we create an avatar from this model. Now if we press apply, you can open it and you will see that there's an avatar inside. And this avatar contains the rig with all the bones, all the joints that are named as in the Mixamo character. So if we use this avatar instead, we will be able to make the character move and animate the character. Now we also need to extract the textures. now we've replaced the robot with our own character from XMO. I like to have him a little bit walking a little bit faster. So let's double all the speeds. Then we should also double the these values. So let's make this 4 and 12. Otherwise the character would always be running like this, not walking, because the speed doesn't match the speed where he needs to walk and run. There's one thing that still needs to be done. We need to speed up the animation as well of the running. So if we go back to the base layer, we got this speed, make this 2. Now you can see that the feet are moving much faster, and it fits the terrain that it's walking on. Okay, this gives us a bit more action. So now let's add our animations. So we can create new layers where we will put our animations on. So let's create the first summersault layer. And now we need to take our somersault animation, but first we need to also rig that. We put the model inside, we saved the whole scene as an FBX, so we can create an avatar from this model, and otherwise we can use the avatar that we just created, because it's the same XMO avatar, so it doesn't really matter. So over here you can already see the animation that we created. You can see the somersault over here. I've polished it a little bit, so it looks really cool now. It took me about 1 hour, I think, to make it like this, and I'm really new to using Cascadeur, so this tool is really powerful to create animations, and anybody can do it. We can change a lot of things over here, but for now we will leave it like this. So let's add this animation. As a new state of this layer. We only have one state in this layer. We will create another layer, call it fight, where we'll have the fighting animation, the kick. So it's over here. We take a look at the rig. It's also again rigged as humanoid. You can see it's a kick, and the player is also turning around and jumping up a little bit. Put this on this layer, and now we can go to the input system. We got some inputs over here, but we will need to define some new inputs. So I'm gonna define the summersault. Let's just call it what it is, and we will bind that to the let's say the right mouse button. And then we'll add the fight action and put it on the left mouse button. Let's save this. And now this starter assets, they made it especially with this intermediate script, let's say, where they will store all the values of the inputs. So we can extend that one to use our keys as well. Now that we've created some new player actions, we also need to add them to the starter assets input script. At least that's how the starter assets package works. So let's comply to that. We will create a summersault and a fight boolean to store if the player is performing a somersault or a fight movement, just like when he is jumping. So we copy this jump input method as well, and we rename it to summersault input and fight method input. And finally we will create two methods, on summersault and on fight. And as soon as they are called, they will store the value over here inside this summersault boolean. So let's save that, and let's see if it works. You can see the starter assets input script over here. The new booleans have been added. They are public, so we can see them as properties over here. And as soon as I click the left mouse button, we can see that the fight button is already processed. And when I now click the right mouse button, we can see that the summersault is also ticked. So this boolean is set to true because the method on summersault was called and has stored the value. If you jump up, the jump checkbox is also ticked, but it's immediately erased again by another script that processes the movements, and that's the third-person controller script over here, and we're gonna modify that as well to add our animation in that. A little background on how this works. We've got these input actions over here: move, look, jump, sprint, somersault and fight. And these input actions are attached to the player over here. You can see that. And because of that, as soon as any of these actions are performed, the on jump method is called in every script that is attached to this this same game object as this player input actions asset. So because of that, as soon as you click the right mouse button, the on somersault method is called in the starter assets input script. So this method is called, and the value is stored over here so that we can use it to perform some action. You will see that there is no references over here to this method, but it's called by Unity, so that's not seen by our Visual Studio here. Now that we're keeping track of when the left and right mouse buttons are clicked, we can use that to perform the animation. And therefore we will modify the third person controller that is part of the starter assets. So we go to this third person controller script and we will add the following code. We create this method summersault that we will put in the update method of the third person controller script. So we check that all the time, and as soon as we receive input from the left mouse button or right mouse button, we will check if we're not already playing the animation yet, and if not, we will set a boolean to true that we will use later on. And we will also set the time left of the animation, and then we will just reset the input the same as the jump button does, so that we need to click the right mouse button again if we want to perform a second somersault. Then we set the layer weight of the somersault animation layer to 1, so this layer will override the default running animation and we will see the somersault animation, and we will start to play it from the beginning every time we click that button. So we're just resetting the somersault animation to make sure that it starts from the beginning. And then we have this update animations method that's also called from the update method, and over here we check if the animation is still running, and if it has finished, then we set this boolean to false again, and if the animation is not running, we will reset the animation layer of the somersault animation. We will make it fade until it becomes 0 again, the layer weight of that animation. So then that animation is definitely not active anymore, and we will see the ordinary run and walk animations. Over here you can see that we store the time that the animation is running, and we detect when that is time has passed. You can also use an events for that, but I found it to be more easy to use it like this in this simple situation. So this animation time is now set to 6 seconds, and we can check that over here. If you go to the somersault animation and we inspect it, you can see that if I move to the end, it's 6.19 seconds long. So at that moment all of the animation has been played, and we can reset the situation, and the player can hit the right mouse button again to make another somersault. So let's see what happens if we run this animation. I'm clicking the right mouse button and we see that the animation is being played. I've polished it a bit, it looks quite nice now, but you can see that there are some problems at the moment. First of all, this fellow just jumps in the air, but he is not moving forward. Well, during the creation of the animation you could see that he was jumping forward, so that's missing. one easy way to fix that is to go to the animation. I've already got the animation properties over here, and you can bake into pose all the transforms of the animation. You can see over here that the animation actually makes the character move forward, and we can bake that into the pose. And then if we apply this and we run the application again, you will see that he now is jumping forward. But you see immediately that after the animation is finished, the player moves back to the original position. So that's not really a solution. The character wasn't really moved at all. He was just part of the animation, and now that the animation is finished, he is back to his original position. So this animation will also involve some movement forward. So what we can do is just disable this again, or at least the transform of the X and Z positions. We can keep this, but we will move the character by script ourselves, so then we have the real position changing all the time and it's not part of the animation. Over here you can see the part that we add to make the character move during the somersault. The first 2 seconds we don't move the character yet, because he first needs to jump up, but after that we will move him. And this value is just found by trying out different speeds, what's suitable for this movement. And we also use this is doing somersault boolean now that we've already set, because it could be another animation that's being played, but we only want to do this movement for the somersault. So now if we take a look at what happens when we run the animation, you see that the player actually moves forward, not immediately, but after 2 seconds. And yeah, he moves at the right speed, and he finally ends up at a different position. So after the animation is finished, the player will just move on from this new position. So that works fine. The only thing is that it's a bit slow at the moment, so we can try to speed up the animation a bit to make it more useful for a real game. So if we go to the somersault animation in the animator, and we go to the properties, we can change the speed, for example make it 5 times faster. Then we will also need to change this this value. We will need to decrease it by 5, divide it by 5. And also this hard-coded time of 2 seconds will now be 5 times faster, so we will decrease that as well. And now let's take a look at the final animation for the somersault. Okay, I think it looks good. Now for the fight animation, the script is a bit more simple. We add a call to the fight in the update, just like with the somersault. And over here again we check if there's no animation running, and if not, then we will set the time. The animation time of the fight animation is stated over here. You can find it by checking the properties of the animation. And then we will set the layer weight of the fight animation to 1 and play the fight animation. And also when there is no animation playing anymore, we will reset the layer so that we are sure that the animation of the run and walk is being used, and this animation is not active anymore. So let's check out what happens. By the way, we need to bake into pose the rotation and the Y position of this animation. If not, you will see what happens. Now if we play the fight animation, it works, but the player is not rotating and not jumping up. But as soon as we bake those movements into the pose, you will see that the player is jumping up and rotating when performing the kick. Again, this animation is a bit too slow, but not as slow as the somersault. So let's go to the animator and select the fight animation and change the speed to 2. And then we also need again to change this time, divide it by 2. Yeah, this looks good. Finally, let's add some visual effect when playing the animation. Let's go to the package manager. To Unity registry. And let's install the visual effect graph extension. I've copied this effect from an old project that I had. So in this assets folder of the new project, I've copied the effect, the slash effect, and also a shader to go along with it over here. So you can see them over here. This is the slash effect, and we will adapt the script to use this effect. So we've created this serialized variable that we can set from the Unity editor to store the visual effect. And also we have added this effect time left value that will keep track of how long the effect should still last. And then in the fight code, when we hit the left mouse button, we set this time to be 0.3 seconds. And as long as this effect is running, we will simply play it. We're going to add the game object over here for our new effect. Let's call it visual effects slash, and let's add the visual effect. And now we can create a reference to the script as well. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it works. Only we need to reposition this visual effect a bit. Should be a bit higher. maybe not that high. Something like this. I think I want to rotate it a little bit. This requires a bit tweaking, but you get the idea. That concludes our animation video. Now it's up to you to create some stunning animations. Take care and see you in the next video.